Hey everyone, this is BlackhawkIC, and today I'm going to look way back into my channel history and revisit one of the first build guides I ever did, which is on the Atlas AS7-D. I did the guide back in 2015, and since then I've improved skill-wise and editing-wise, so I felt this mech really deserves a refresh treatment. There's also the fact that I've always loved the Atlas, and here you can see the Atlas Battletech trading card that came with my copy of Mech Commander. You also see the Zeus Success over here on the side, which I also did a video on. It's too bad though that this game never really took off. Historically in MWO, the Atlas has mostly been a short-range brawler, but ever since I started playing, it has always been outclassed by the DDC and later the S variants, which carried more short-range firepower. This is why I never built the D as a brawler and going mid-range instead. Back then, you'd have people complain about your build if you weren't taking a Brawl Atlas, but several changes have hit the Brawl Atlas pretty hard. This includes the engine desync and overall agility nerfs that came with the skill tree. You used to be able to twist to your side in about half a second and use your big arms to block shots. But now even with full torso twist skills, you need almost a full second longer to shield your torsos. So the mid-range builds, even though they're not ideal on the Atlas, probably makes more sense today than the Brawl builds. For those who are used to seeing the Atlas as free damage at 500 meters, well, this build will show you that it's not always the case. Looking at the updated version of this build, the main weapons are the two UAC-5s, which leaves us with enough slots for an LFE. The UACs are supported by 3 large lasers for additional burst damage. Since there are no energy heatgen quirks and the DHS count isn't that high, you have to use the lasers sparingly. Also, doing a right side peek can expose most of your weapons, so that's a good option when you're making risky peeks. I did want to mention the UAC-10 UAC-5 option for this build, and I demoed that in the beginning of the video. For this, we have to go to a smaller engine, and I felt the build was worse overall due to the lower range and increased heat of the UAC-10. In the firepower tree, we get mostly heat gen and cooldown nodes. We max out durability. We go about halfway on heat management and get 60% of radar depth. Okay, let's see this mech in action. In this map, we're on Polar Highlands. Polar Highlands is usually not a very favorable map for this build. This build will favor maps that provides this kind of right side peak cover. Because of how tall the Atlas is, a lot of times when it tries to do like a right side peak from one of these really low hills, it stands out above. The head kind of stands out above where the hilltop, and so it doesn't get enough cover when it does the right side peaks. And you can kind of see here, like I'm sure some guys over on like H8 or G8 is able to see my head and they're trying to fire at me. So it's not the ideal cover in this case, and a lot of times I have to peek over hills and expose a lot of my mech when I'm firing like this. But the other weird thing about this match is that I would expect different kinds of mechs to be on Polar Highlands. Like, a lot of times teams vote for Polar because they have a lot of lerms, or they want a cold map, like they're like heavy laser vomit or something like that. And I just didn't see either of that in this map, so I don't know in this match. So I don't exactly know why people voted for Polar in this case. I mean, there's some lerms, but it wasn't that many. And if it was a lot of a lot of laser vomit, then this game would have been over a lot quicker. There would have been pushes, there would have been, big alpha strikes on either team, and then, this match would have been a lot quicker actually, but it ended up lasting quite a while. So we're in this position where we're kind of off to the side of our team. Normally I shouldn't be that far away from my team, but because where my team was, they didn't have very good cover, and if I peeked out of cover, they like a lot of enemy mechs would have seen me, and then I would have had a bad day. So like I'm off to the side here, kind of just getting some laser shots, getting in some UAC shots, just kind of harassing them from the side. Again, ideally not there. This is not my ideal place, and sometimes I have like some support, like right now, for example. But other times I don't really have support, and like if a light tried to, you know, hit my back, then I would have been in trouble as well. But we're just kind of, you know, sitting in a pretty comfortable position. Our armor, if you saw the build and how much armor it has, like it has like 120 something points of armor on the side torso. That's quite a bit to absorb some of that incoming fire. So even though I have to expose a lot of my mech to do damage, you know, that return fire isn't hurting me all that much at this point. So I'm kind of like, this urban mech is kind of trying to help me, I think. But he's kind of going away. He's going back to the team now, so like again, I'm like, I don't have the support that I need. I managed to take off a component from that, I think from that supernova. Low arms. I just keep hitting ground there. I'm waiting for a push from either team so I can get closer. This build, it really prefers to be a little bit closer than this. Like you can see, kind of like these guys are like 700 meters out, more than 700, like 800 meters out, and this really prefers to be like, you know, 500, 600, 400. So there's a little bit of push going on now, so I can getting some DPS out on their sides. You have to watch your heat. As I said, you know, the lasers are pretty hot, so you have to use them sparingly.
New target acquired. New target acquired.
Our team is not in a good shape right now, but you know, I'm kind of helping them by hitting the enemy team from their backs, so it should be taking a little bit of pressure off of them right now.
New target acquired.
I don't know what the point of that narc is. I mean, there's no LRMs on the enemy team.
New target acquired.
So we're getting low on ammo here, and eventually I'll run out in this game. Like normally this wouldn't happen. I think I took like 5 tons of ammo in this game, and I upped it by half a ton. And I got the magazine capacity skill after this because of this match. But in reality, like 5 tons should be adequate for most games. Like you don't usually see this kind of. Normally games don't last this long.
Destroyed. 8 level critical.
What's the AC-20s on that thing?
Target destroyed. Ultra.
Yeah, I expended an extra 2 rounds of ammo on that Jaeger, and that's 2 rounds that I should not have shot, but you know, that's what it is. 7-7 right now, I'm out of ammo. It's not a good situation. I just have my lasers, which is okay, but doesn't do that much damage. So we got this Thunderbolt here. We see that it's crit CT, so
New target acquired.
we're able to take it out.
Target acquired.
That Atlas in the back.
Target acquired.
I'm pretty sure we have some pretty hurt mechs in our team right now, so like 8-9, well it's 8-10 now. It's just me and another guy who's actually Disco. So it's really 4v1 right now. Not a good situation for me. Even though like I have most of my armor, it's still, well not anymore, but I had most of my armor. You know, taking out 4 mechs, even if they're all hurt, it's going to be hard with just 3 large lasers. So, but we'll fight on as much as we can.
Target acquired. Warning. Missile.
Like locusts and these light mechs are problematic for me because again the agility nerf on the Atlas means I can't torso twist as very quickly. I can't respond to these fast light movements as quickly as I want to. Right now I'm just kind of trying to figure out which mech is the closest to death so I can maybe finish him off with the large lasers. The Atlas seemed to be the most close to death, the closest to death. So, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get the last kill. Because of how long this match lasted, I was able to do more damage than I expected. And I think if we had this last guy who wasn't disconnected, we would have been able to win. Well, anyways, I hope you enjoyed the match, and especially if you're a founder, maybe you'll take out the old AS7-D for a spin. And if you like these kinds of videos, make sure to subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. And I'll see you next time.